systems. Because of the diversity, the communications link, the interaction, the adaptive behavior, those are the hallmarks of complexity theory. But also because they're populated by humans, and humans themselves are complex. You can take a reductionist point of view. What's a human? Well, it's about $5 worth of chemicals, some carbon, silicon, water, H2O, and all that. But you can buy those $5 worth of chemicals, put them in a vat, charge of electricity, stir it. You don't get a human being, right? We've obviously evolved as very complex human beings, but there's nothing about, if you could have perfect knowledge of every cell and molecule in a human being, you could not infer speech. You could not infer my ability to talk and your ability to understand what I'm saying. That's an emergent property of a complex system. That's how capital markets operate. That's where black swans come from. That's where financial collapse comes from. It comes out of nothing. It comes out of nowhere. You don't see it coming unless you are looking for it through the lens of complexity theory. That's what I do. I build predictive analytics models using that. We use them in our publications. We use them in our newsletters. We're having very good results.
So Jim, these predictive models are now telling us that we should expect a crisis in 2018, is that right?
Well, 2018 is an estimate, Bill, and I used the 10-year tempo, 1998, 2008, so I took that 10-year tempo and carried it forward to 2018. So a bit of a literary.
So it makes a shift into this year.
It could very well happen in 2018. Maybe it's 2019, but the point is it could be tomorrow. The thing is, what causes an avalanche? What causes a sand pile, a sandcastle to collapse? You never know. You build it up, you build it up, you build it up. It becomes dynamically unstable, and then one snowflake causes the whole mountain to collapse. So that's the way capital markets operate. They're building up in terms of notional value of derivatives and the interaction of the banks, etc. But you never know what could cause it to collapse. 2018 is an estimate. This is what I talk about in my book. But it could happen tomorrow, so people need to prepare today.
Well, but doesn't Janet Yellen say that it won't happen in our lifetime?
The scariest thing I've ever heard, though, when recently, you're right, in some testimony, Janet Yellen said the financial system is now so sound that we should expect there will never be another financial crisis in our lifetimes. Of course, I needed to go to Neville Chamberlain, who returned from his meeting with peace. And so that brought us peace in our time. And of course, that turned out not to be true. But Janet Yellen has no comprehension of the statistical properties of risk. She's a kind of geeky, liberal, democratic labor economist. And that's not, I don't say that in a disparaging way. That's what she is. She's a labor economist. She believes in the Phillips curve, which is another one of these models that there's no relationship to reality. She doesn't understand this. She doesn't understand what we're talking about here. And she's just sort of putting out, she probably believes it, which is even scarier. But the point is, when I hear someone like that say that we'll never see collapse in a lifetime, I say to myself, it could happen any day.
Sort of one of those famous last words.
Sure. We have a testimony, or actually a public transcript, in March 2007, just months before the mortgage market collapse, which was the beginning of the financial panic of 2008. Ben Bernanke was asked about this, and she was chairman of the Fed at the time, Janet Yellen's predecessor, and he said, this will be contained.
So, Jim, you've actually tried to warn the U.S. government about this coming crisis.
I have, though. We talked a lot about long-term capital management, which is 1998. Well, when the 2008 crisis started to unfold, actually before then, 2005, 2006, and that's
One year cash. You're gonna need it.
was coming. Based on my experience of long-term capital, I said I've seen this movie before. I could see how this was going to play out. So I actually met with the United States Treasury Department in September of 2007. Now, this is a full year before Lehman Brothers, before AIG, before the acute stage of the crisis. And I said to them, look, this is coming. This is going to get worse. This is not contained, as Ben Bernanke would say. So here's what you need to do. I said, contact all the hedge funds and all the alternative investment funds. Give them 1 week to give you all their positions in machine-readable form. Hire IBM Global Services, which is used to deal with sensitive information. Put all this in a single place. Create a covariance matrix, protect it. Don't tell the hedge funds what to do. Don't tell them what to trade. Let them do whatever they want. But say, when this collapses, it's going to end up in your lap. You're going to have to solve it. Therefore, you're entitled to the information. I was completely blown off. But a nice guy. The treasury official was nice. Senior official was nice to meet me. But he was sort of a Bush 43 ideologue. He said, oh no, we're free market guys. We believe in the free market. And we would never. I said, this is not a free market. You guaranteed that. You
Wow.
have to get off the system. You're entitled to the
It's
information.
really nice to hear. He was the lawyer for long-term capital management. You don't know what that is.
McCain versus Obama.
It was
I was invited to
huge.
join the McCain Economic Advisory.
He's the heart of all this stuff.
So late August
And
2011, I'm the new kid on the block.
these are the intellectuals about
right after the bailout of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
they're saying the exact same conclusions I come to with more data.
They wanted to talk about Iraq.
You know, it's like, you know, part of me is like that guy at poker table, like, don't believe in all this stuff, and relax, you know, you're smoking too much of your own dope, you know, you suffer from conversation bias.
Yeah.
You are not going to make it to election
I know,
day.
but the other hand, you are just,
On the wreckage and picking up bargains for 10 cents on the dollar. He's getting ready. Everyone else can do the same. Real estate will serve you well. For those who can find a way in or can afford it, I recommend fine art. I'm not talking about college dorm posters. I'm talking about museum quality art. But even if you can't, if you don't have $100 million to buy a Picasso, you have some very good art funds that you can invest in where you have the same exposure to that asset class. I also have private equity and a private equity portfolio. These are people you could actually know. You can meet the managers. You have a contract. You're not relying on the banking system or the digital system. Some in financial technology, so-called fintech. Some in natural resources. So those are attractive investments as well. The point is, there is a portfolio of precious metals, fine art, cash, land, private equity, and venture capital that is diversified and will serve you well. And it's very robust to the kind of crises we're talking about. There's kinds of things we discuss in our publications.
If you pick up the land cheaper,
We should expect in the month ahead.
Well, one thing I would say, Bill, is this crisis we're talking about, it's going to play out very quickly. Believe it or not, I've actually had people call me, on a friendly basis, and they said, Jim, I hear everything you're saying, I believe you, I agree with you. Call me 3 o'clock the day before, and I'll sell my stocks and go buy some gold. I said, no, I'm not going to know the day. I can tell you it's coming. I can tell you it's coming sooner than later. I'm not necessarily going to know the exact day, but more to the point, 3 o'clock the day before will be too late because other people will be seeing the same thing. We are giving advance warning, but I was saying the time to prepare is now. Get your portfolio in order. We do have specific recommendations to help people structure a portfolio like this in our publication, but you can begin preparing now. Whether this happens next week, next month, a year from now, or 2 years from now is far less important than the fact that it's coming, so you can get ready. But it'll play out very, very quickly.
Well, Jim, I just want to thank you for spending time with us. It's
Thank
a pleasure talking to
you.
you.
Talking to you.
J'espère que nos spectateurs auront entendu votre avertissement. Généralement, Jim Ricketts travaille pour les membres du Congrès américain, pour la Maison Blanche, la CIA et d'autres puissantes organisations publiques comme le Pentagon ou privées comme le BlackRock ou Citigroup. Mais avec intelligence stratégique, vous recevrez ces précieuses informations directement à votre domicile, en exclusivité et en avant-première. Cela vous donnera une avance considérable sur les marchés.
No, I don't want investments during a recession. And I don't want recession-proof stocks. I want to see what stocks are going to dive because of a recession.
Mhm.
She's predicting it 2018. Everybody's getting close now to predicting it now.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's going to be weird. You know, it's like you drive your car and you don't change your oil on time. You
Yeah.
can still continue driving your car. Then, you know, you didn't clean your air filter. And then, you know, you didn't give it the tune-up. And then, you know, keep on add and add and add and add. And you keep on going, and it gets to the point where you're like, okay, maybe it's still running, but at some point, probability of it not running is getting very high. That's like the economy.
Or like a human.
Well, you didn't believe me when I told you about this little thing. You don't believe me, hardly. Because it looks, when you look out in the world, you're shopping. Things are
Yeah,
going on.
shopping.
Hmm?
True. I don't know what would be like. Like, we're really gonna live like, have nothing and we just depend on food from here. It's kind of hard.
No. I never said that. You never said that.
But if that's the worst case scenario.
No, no. The expectation is that the people that are in control, the globalists, the people that run the major corporations, the people in charge of the government, the deep state, those that run the NSA, the military, and all this kind of stuff, the central banks, the big banks, the people that control B of A, and all that kind of stuff. The assumption is that all those people have control, and they would never let it happen. But remember, as a microcosm to view a macrocosm, as a small example to view a bigger example, they also had all the greatest people in the world with 55,000 employees working for MGM Grand, and then decided to build, knowing about the economic cycles, went ahead and said, okay, now's the time to build during the most expensive time, City Center, and then sell City Center at the most inopportune time where you're going to get the least amount of money. Right? And what ended up happening? They lost all their money.
Okay.
They lost all their cash. Imagine MGM Grand, right? MGM Mirage, been saving money for decades, earning millions and millions of dollars a month everywhere, saving it, right? And billions of dollars lost it, right? The other major, there's only two major companies, Caesar's Harris, went belly up, went bankrupt. They just came out of bankruptcy 6 months ago. Right? So what's to say anything? I mean, if these smart people who are running society would, A, lead us to the point of destruction, right? Most people think like me, who know about it, they do it on purpose because they know better. They do it on purpose because through the destruction they can gain more power. Regardless of that, the whole point I'm trying to make is that you're trying to control an explosion. You're building a bunch of explosives and you're lighting it off and you're saying, I can control this explosion. Now, there are demolition experts that go into really tall buildings, drill holes into the thing, get the architectural plans, and they know exactly where to take out the building.
No phone call.
And they did it. Why is my phone on silence?
I did because you were sleeping.
Hey. I was going through all the ammo. Yeah, you want some of that? Cool. Good to see you. All right,
You
see
just
you.
saw him.
Huh?
You just saw him. You guys are gross. Like a homo.
Oh, God. Didn't you ever have friends?
I don't have friends that have to see me every day. Jealous.
Okay, that makes
I
more
am
sense.
jealous.
Okay. Anyway, my point is that there are people that are demolishing the internet. find out together.
Just 2,000, some 2,200. That's normal.
No, 2,200 is like a 30 out 6 or
No,
something.
no. The 2 to 3 is like 27. But